Hey folks, this is Kelani. After playing around with every class on the beta, I have to say one specific spec sticks out quite nicely, and for all the right reasons. I don't know whether it's so fun because you can happily launch a mini legion of demons at your enemies, or if it's so fun because a good chunk of it is new. It's always nice to have new abilities to play around with, and it's always nice throwing imps at your foes. Who doesn't love a good implosion? Demonology Warlock has taken quite a few steps beyond what it was during Legion, and if you're a Warlock main, I think you might have won the Spec lottery going into Battle for Azeroth. I didn't really buy into the hype before I actually tried it for myself, and I've got to say, if Affliction and Destruction were as amazing as Demonology, I wouldn't hesitate in the slightest. I would have a new main for Battle for Azeroth. But let's put the hype on the shelf for now and check out what makes Demonology Warlock one of the most fun specs in the game right now. So we're still a Warlock, so we're still playing with Soul Shards. You can have up to 5 at any given time, some spells generate them and some spells consume them. Pretty much a standard resource in that regard. You can generate up to 3 while out of combat, so you're guaranteed to start a fight with at least 3 in your pocket, and you can go from there. The first thing you want to do with a Soul Shard is summon up a pet, because Demonology Warlocks are built around their many pets. You can summon an Imp, Voidwalker, Fell Hunter, Succubus, or Felguard as baseline, and you'll probably almost always want your Felguard out. The main ability you'll be using to generate Soul Shards is Shadow Bolt. Throw off a nice, newly animated Shadow Bolt into your foe to deal a bit of shadow damage and generate 1 Soul Shard. The other ability that generates shards is Demon Bolt, which has changed a little bit. It's got a very lengthy cast time, deals quite a lot of damage, and generates 2 Soul Shards. To spend all these lovely Soul Shards, we have 2 main abilities. The first is called Dreadstalkers. Summon 2 ferocious Dreadstalkers that attack your target for 12 seconds. This costs 2 Soul Shards and has a 20-second cooldown. Definitely an ability you'll be wanting to use on cooldown. The Dreadstalkers also leap to your current target and deal a hefty amount of initial damage. The other ability that uses Soul Shards is Hand of Gul'dan, which calls down a demonic meteor to slam into all enemies within 8 yards of your target. This can consume 1 to 3 Soul Shards and summons a wild imp for each Soul Shard you use. Now if at any point you decide these pesky little imps aren't really worth keeping around, or you just want to deal a whole bunch of AoE damage, you can use Implosion, which sucks all of your wild imps to your target and detonates them, dealing a large amount of AoE damage. The more imps you've got, the larger the boom. Those abilities make up the greatest part of your gameplay, the ebb and flow of Soul Shards and your main source of a demonic army, but you also have a relatively short DPS cooldown to add into the mix, called Summon Demonic Tyrant. Your Tyrant increases the duration of all your current active demons by 15 seconds, and increases the damage they all deal by 15%. They will also chaincast Shadow Bolt volleys at your enemies, just for good measure. So if you build up an army and summon your Tyrant, not only do you extend the duration of your entire army by a significant amount, but every demon you have gets a substantial damage buff. The only bad thing I see about this ability is you're going to live and die by the size of your army. If you use your Tyrant a little too early, a little too late, or you just get unlucky, you might miss out on heaps of damage. Just something to think about. Let's have a look at what passives we have to spice things up. First up is our Mastery, which isn't all that spicy, a simple damage bonus for your demons. We also have Demonic Core, which is a lot more interesting. Demonic Core reduces the cast time of Demon Bolt by 100%, making it an instant cast spell. When your Wild Imps expire, they have a 10% chance to grant you a stack of Demonic Core. When your Dreadstalkers expire, they have a 100% chance to grant you a stack of Demonic Core. You can have up to 4 stacks at any one time. This is where things get really fun, because you're already summoning a bunch of imps, so you'll probably get a few stacks there, but every time you use called Dreadstalkers, which should be on cooldown, you're guaranteed to get 2 stacks of Demonic Core when they expire. That allows you to pump out even more imps to get more stacks to use more Demon Bolts. It's a wonderful cycle. Finish it all off with a well-timed Tyrant and nothing will stand in your way. We also have Soul Leech, which provides you and your minions with an absorption shield dependent on single target damage, so as long as you're dealing out some deeps, you'll get a nice safety bubble. And then there's Soul Link. 20% of all damage you take is redirected to your pet, and Soul Leech provides you with a bit of healing in addition to the shields. Let's wrap up the baseline abilities with the utility spells. We have Unending Resolve, a 40% damage reduction cooldown on a 3-minute cooldown, which also grants immunity to interrupt and silence effects for 8 seconds. Shadow Fury is an AoE stun that lasts for 3 seconds on a 1-minute cooldown. We still have Fear to make the lesser classes flee in terror. Banish is sticking around for when you really need to reliably CC an elemental or demon. Command Demon allows you to actively use your pet's demon's special ability. We have Drain Life for the rare occurrences where you lose a little bit of health, and Health Funnel to make sure your pet stays nice and healthy. Warlocks also have most, if not all, of their raid utility abilities, including Create Healthstone, Create Soulwell, Soulstone, Demonic Gateway, and Ritual of Summoning. The last one is really the only one we need to get into raid groups, but hey, I'm happy to have the rest as well. If you ever get bored of your demon pets and want something new, you can also enslave demons, and if you want to make hunters jealous about the whole Eyes of the Beast thing, you can still use Eye of Kilrog. Quite a lot of abilities there, and things are shaping up quite nicely already, but let's move on to the talents to see how many more demons we can summon. On the first row we have Dreadlash. When your Dreadstalkers charge into battle, their initial hit also deals damage to all targets within 8 yards, and deals 25% additional damage. That upfront damage is pretty crazy. Being able to unleash it on multiple targets is a lot of DPS. Or you can pick up Demonic Strength, which sends your Felguard into a Mega Blade Storm, which deals 400% more damage than usual. The last option on this row is Bile Scourge Bombers. Open up a portal to drop some demons on your enemies, which is very fun to watch, but I almost feel bad for them. A row down we have Demonic Calling. Shadow Bolt and Demon Bolt have a 20% chance to make your next Dreadstalkers cost no soul shards and be instant. It doesn't reset the cooldown though, so you might end up waiting around with this proc for a little while. Power Siphon destroys up to 2 of your Wild Imps to instantly grant 2 charges of Demonic Core, so trade 2 Imps for 4 soul shards. Not a bad deal. Then we also have Doom, which does what Doom has always done, except there's no mention of summoning a demon if the target dies, which was half the fun of Doom in the first place. Demon Skin allows your Soul Leech shield to regenerate by itself, and it caps out 15% of your max health, so you basically always run around with an extra 15% health. Burning Rush lets you kill yourself to get back to your raid group faster after a wipe, and Dark Pact allows you to sacrifice 20% of your current health to gain a massive shield. From the Shadows causes the target of your Cold Dreadstalkers to take 20% additional Shadow Flame damage from you for 12 seconds. Soul Strike commands your Felguard to carve a chunk from your target's soul, dealing damage and generating a soul shard for you, and Summon Vile Fiend gives you another demon to summon. This one's a bit stronger than your average imp, lasts for 15 seconds and has a 45-second cooldown. Dark Fury reduces the cooldown of Shadow Fury by 15 seconds, Mortal Coil gives you another fear effect which also heals you for 20% of your max health, and Demonic Circle allows you to set up a little portal and use it to dodge boss mechanics. Inner Demon summons a Wild Imp every 10 seconds and gives you a 10% chance to also summon another random demon to fight for you for 15 seconds, just in case you didn't have enough demons to throw at your enemies. Soul Conduit gives every soul shard you spend a 15% chance to be refunded, and Grimoire of Service allows you to summon a second demon for 25 seconds that deals bonus damage, and the demon will use its special ability right out of the gate. On our last row we have Sacrificed Souls. Each soul shard spent increases the damage of Shadow Bolt and Demon Bolt by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. That's a hefty amount of bonus damage with all of the instant demon bolts we're going to be firing off. Demonic Consumption makes your Tyrant work a little differently. Instead of buffing your minions, he absorbs all of your Wild Imps to empower himself. And then we have Nether Portal, which allows you to open a gateway to the Twisting Nether, calling forth a random demon to fight for you every time you spend a soul shard. It's a mini demon army factory and it's glorious. It's pretty interesting that you can play a few different ways depending on what talents you take. You can buff your own damage, buff your tyrant's damage, or really focus on summoning as many demons as possible and then empowering them all at once. I think we're going to see some crazy potential with Demonology Warlocks in Battle for Azeroth. If you're a little bored of whatever you're playing and you can get past the teeny problems that Warlocks have with mobility, Demonology Warlock might be right up your alley. It's honestly one of the most fun specs I've played in WoW that I can remember, and I hear it's doing ridiculously well in group PvE. Probably a bit too well, it's probably going to get nerfed, but hopefully they'll keep things balanced so you can still pull some decent numbers with this fun spec. I would be interested to hear what some long-time Warlock players think of the new changes to the spec. I know a few Warlocks who played Demo throughout Legion and enjoyed it for the most part, but I remember some frustrations about the ramp-up time and the rotation being a little quirky. Hopefully you end up enjoying these changes. It's pretty satisfying summoning up a mini horde and just going ham on whatever quest mobs happen to be unlucky enough to be within your range. Once you start rolling, you can keep pulling until you're done with your quests, and sometimes I have a little fun killing stuff aimlessly. It would be a waste to just let my army disappear, right? Either way, if you're looking for a new ranged DPS spec and you're not too bothered about playing a pure DPS, Warlock might be a really good pick going into Battle for Azeroth. I know I'm going to at least level 1 as an alt to play around on, even if I don't end up playing it too seriously. What do you think about these changes to Demonology Warlock? Are you playing Warlock right now? Would you consider playing one in Battle for Azeroth? maybe just for Demonology? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. If you want to hop on that train, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.